Hi everyone, we're going to take a look at bishop 4e strategies again, and we're going to start from this position, which you must be already familiar with. Black has just dropped his lance to 3f. And here white has two options. One is bishop to 3f, which we've already seen in the previous video, and the other one is 0 drop to 6f. So we're going to take a look at 0 to 6f in this video. So here. Now basically if you take it, it's over. Horse on 7h, and if you take a knight now, it's too late. Rook drop. Let's say you drop a silver, but here comes a very good gold sack, and if you take it, it's a checkmate. So obviously you can't take this silver, and the primary standard move from here is actually lance take 3c. You go ahead. And also there's another option that is in the Joseki line, that's gold to 5h, protecting that square. Of course, why not protect that square? So this is another Joseki line. But I think I'm going to only show lance to 3c in this video, because the primary line itself is pretty complicated and it'll take pretty much time to explain. And I'm going to leave this gold to 5h in other video because this move too leads to pretty interesting Joseki, which is actually white drops a rook here and rook drop and rook trade here and another rook drop to here. So pretty interesting. And if black were to protect the 6g square, other than gold moved 5h, of course king to 6h or 5h is possible. And moreover, rook drop to 8g might be interesting too, protecting this square and attacking the knight. But the thing is, any of these moves won't work for black. And I think I'm going to tell you why in the videos of gold to 5h. So not in this video. Oh, and moreover, there's also an interesting drop of rook to 6c from black, attacking the silver now, and indirectly attacking the bishop too, because the lance can take away the defender anytime. The rook is also aiming at this square too. But the thing is, this rook drop is not very good either, so well, maybe I'll cover that in the other video too. So anyway, now let's take a look at the main line, which is lance to 3c. So here, once again, white has two major options. One, 0 to 6g, of course. And the other is, yes, of course, bishop to 6g. And each of these options are pretty complicated, so I'm not sure I can cover both in this one video. So which should we go first? I think bishop to 6g is thought to be a little bit better, so let's leave that to the next one, and let's see 0 takes 6g first in this video. So after this move, the standard move line is very violent. Black goes ahead taking the gold, white goes ahead taking the gold, and black goes ahead taking the silver. Really exciting. But let's see why that is the main line. How about here? For one thing, taking it is out of question. It will just help white to make his attack faster. So what else? Actually, there's this rook drop again at this position. You see, this time it's forking these two pieces. But after that, white goes ahead taking this gold, and black takes the bishop. But let's say a rook drop, and it's better for white. So this rook drop doesn't work. So the most interesting one here is actually gold to 7i, running away from the promoted silver. Well, this is pretty interesting. And if white goes ahead attacking the gold like that, well, then black can go ahead and take the gold, and white has to take the gold now. And you see now this promoted silver is here, which in the primary line, it was here. So, well, this is a very, very big difference. The promoted silver on here is not doing a very good job, as opposed to when it's here, which covers this square. So that's the main idea of this gold moved to 7i. But in this case, white's not going to go ahead with the promoted silver to 7h, because he can use the promoted silver to this way later on, and for now he's going to drop a pawn to here. Well, if you take it, rook drop on 7i, so I can't take it, and you go ahead, but this pawn promotion is too powerful. Once again, this promoted silver is doing a good job here. So basically gold to 7i doesn't work here. So that's the reason why black can only go ahead and take the gold on 3b. Right, so what if white just takes it back? Well, then rook drop, right? So it's not good for white. So that's why he can only go ahead and take the gold on 7h. And as I've said, black goes ahead taking silver. Because if he tries to protect his king here, for example, king 4h, he can just simply now take the lance. Because he has now got a gold in his hand, so if you drop a rook, well, then gold drop. So it's not very good. And let's say if you move your horse to attack in the silver, well, then he's going to ignore that and drop his lance to 2e, and it's not good for black. You're attacked from both sides, and white king is still okay. So that's why black can't do anything to protect his king now, and has to go ahead take the silver now to 3a. But before that, other than taking the silver, black has another way to keep attacking, right? And it's pretty tempting. Yeah, that's rook drop to 4a. Well, that's one option too. And white king runs, you take the silver with the rook, right? Now then, bishop promotion, and it's a threat made simply from rook drop to 6i. So king runs, but white goes ahead with gold drop. So if you take it, you can take it to horse because you cannot take it back. It's gonna be a mate. So king runs, but let's say rook drop, king runs, horse check, king runs, and rook takes a silver, and it's now black's king is in a threat mate, which is very hard to remove. So the question is white king in a threat mate now? Well, the answer is no. So this position is a win for white. But actually, white king is not in a mate is not so easy to say. It's pretty close because knight sack here. So white has to take it. I mean, if he runs, surprisingly, this is a checkmate because dragon sack and a pawn drop. Okay, clear off the pieces, and then black has got 5 generals. So gold sack here, silver sack here, and a pawn sack. Let's say king takes it. Now this horse check, king runs, but another pawn drop, and you have 3 generals more. So it's a mate, right? 3 generals. So maybe, I guess the king should run to here at this position, but silver sack and a gold drop. Even if king runs, gold drop. Look at this horse. So king runs and the checkmate, right? So because of that, white has to take the knight at this position. So it has to take it, but then a gold sack here. White can't take it. Right, so king runs, but another gold sack. And if the king takes it, dragon check and it's checkmate. So king runs, but finally it's no mate. Black doesn't have enough pieces to make this king. So because of this line, that rook drop on 4a, instead of taking the silver with the lance, is thought to be not good. But my question is, what if at this position, instead of taking the gold now, what if the king runs? Well, now the question is whether this gold to 4i is a threat mate or not. And I guess it's not a threat mate, actually. So why not just make a threat mate from black side, for instance, like that. It's a threat mate starting from that knight sack here, right? And white has a good move of gold 4h, which black can't take it, but if the king runs, I guess it's no mate. So that question is left, actually. But what professional players say is rook drop to 4a. This move is not the best. Black should just take the silver with the promoted lance here. Okay, now let's go ahead. So from here, basically white makes a bishop promotion, which is a threat mate. So black makes a horse jack, the 3c, the king runs, and a rook drop to 2b. Alright, so from here, let's say a gold drop to 5b, very solid defense. And well then, after seeing that move, black can simply move the king to 4h, removing that threatmate, and maybe the silver comes over. But the problem for white is this position is not a threatmate for black. So black can make this threatmate, which is very powerful. It's a threatmate starting from this silver sack. Gold takes it and horse takes it. And from a lance, the 4a. Simple checkmate. If takes it, gold drop, rook check, and gold drop to 6a, and the rest is simple. So let's say king runs. Well, then rook sack. Well, it's easy. Yeah, so this knight drop is a threatmate. And one option might be pawn to 70, which is pretty good, attacking the knight and also making an escape route here. But then knight promotion is still a threatmate. But here another pawn push to 60, another escaping route. Well then, silver dropped 4b, which is another threatmate. Well, but this threatmate is interesting. You sack the rook first, and a gold sack. Let him take it, and then you drop the gold here. If you take it, you clear off the pieces, and gold on the head, right? So king runs, but pawn drop. A very good tactic. If gold takes it, checkmate. And after king takes it, now you can take the gold by checking with a silver unpromoted, which can lead to a checkmate. So maybe he runs from here to 6c, but you can take it with the silver and a gold sack. And now let's clear them all. And finally, a pawn drop. So it's a mate. Right? So, this silver drop to 4a is a threat mate. And maybe the king runs to 6c, which removes that threat mate actually. Yeah, it's amazing that it's not a mate now. But another pawn drop to 6c, which is a threat mate again, because you sack the dragon first and you take the pawn. And gold drop, pawn drop. Well, it's simple. So threat mate again. But what's best move here is rook to 2e, protecting this square, which removes the threat mate, and also attacking the silver, which is a threat mate. So threat mate removing threat mate. But here, black can take the gold now, and take this pawn now. King takes, and then rook to 2d promote, which is forking the king and the rook. And if white takes it, it's a checkmate. King will run, of course, but gold drop, and you clear off the pieces, and another pawn drop. Well, then he has to take it, but another gold drop, and you should drop a pawn and a rook check. And whatever he drops to 5b, you can just take it, and it's a checkmate. So after all, after the knight drop to 7e, we go back here. Pawn to 70 doesn't work for white. And actually the best move might be silver to 7b, which removes the threat mate actually, defending that square and making escaping for the king. But then this gold drop on 5a would be another powerful threat mate, starting with either gold takes 5b or rook takes 5b. It doesn't matter. So maybe the best move here is again a pawn push to 70, making escaping route. And in this case, you should go with the rook first. If he takes it, it's a checkmate because gold takes it. If king takes it, silver drop, and a horse sack, a checkmate. Even if he runs, okay, let's say horse check and silver. And if king goes to here, pawn drop, goes here, another pawn drop maybe. So it's a checkmate. So after the dragon check, the king runs. That's the best he can. But horse check, king runs maybe. So it's not a mate actually in this case. But you can just take the gold, which is the threat mate now. And black's king is still safe, as I've said. So this position is good for black. Other option might be a rook drop, which is not even a threat mate for black's king. So once again, black goes ahead. But this time with the gold first. And actually it's even a checkmate. But it's pretty difficult, so let's just go ahead. Like that. And king has to run, but look at this, rook on 7g, so you can take it. So it's fine, but silver drop and rook check. And the rest is actually mate, which I've analyzed with the computer, of course. It's pretty complicated. Anyway, so this is the consequence of where was I? Oh, actually, we go back to here. So white dropped a gold to block the rook check, right? But after that, it turned out it's going to be a good position for black. So now we're going to see the best move from white, and that is gold to 5b, not a drop. So he keeps the gold in his hand because now black's king's in a threat mate, so black king has to run. But then this promoted silver to 6h is now, in this time, is a threat mate. You see the threat mate? Well, this horse sack. And, you see it? Gold sack, right. And then rook drop, so the king cannot run from 2g square, right? So, because this move is a threat mate, black has to defend. And to do that, the best move for black is gold drop to 3i, and black's fine. Maybe white will drop a rook, and it's a threat mate, starting from promoted silver to 5i, discovery check. But black king goes to 3h now, and if white goes ahead, I just take it. Another threat mate of this horse sack, followed by a gold sack and gold ahead. But block the rook, and it's difficult to keep making threat mates. And moreover, now white king will be in a powerful threat mate if black drops a 0 to 4a anyway. So even with that gold to 5b move, the position will become a good position for black. Oh, by the way, instead of this gold drop to 3i, you might want to open this pawn to remove that threat mate. But if you do that, there's a very good gold drop to close that square, which you can't take. Because now horse sack and rook drop, and it's a checkmate. Basically, you're still fine with king to 3h, and let's say gold keeps on going, but black's fine. Gold drop in advance, even after rook drop. Yeah, you're fine. But it's a little bit uncomfortable, so as opposed to pawn to 3f, you should simply drop the gold here. Okay, so I guess that's pretty much all for the main lines, I guess. Yeah, so this variation ends up in a good position for black. Okay, but let's see some other minor options, which is, first of all, here, after the promoted lands take 3a, instead of bishop promotion 6g, white has a very tricky move, and you have to know how to deal with it. It's gold dropped to 3h, and this is interesting. Yeah, it's for free, so you can take it, but then he promotes the bishop, and you can see it's a threat mate, right? Rook drop on 6i, for instance. Well, the difference of this position from the primary line is after horse check, king runs, rook check, and now it's this move. Rook drop to 5b, and if you take a look at black's king, it is still a threat mate, so white doesn't need his rook to mate the black's king, and that's the reason of that gold sacked on 3h. You see, even without the rook, silver check, and silver check, it's a checkmate. So actually Black's is in a trouble because now the rook is attacking the rook on 2b, which will end up for Black recapturing with the horse, which makes it further from the king, making the White's king safer. And Black's king is in Threatmate, so really a big trouble. So the thing is, don't take this gold. You can't take this gold. What you should do here is just go ahead and make the check and rook drop. And well, here comes another rook block here, but silver drop on the 5b, 5a. I can't take with the gold because horse sack. So king runs, then calmly drop a pawn, which is a simple threat mate. Let's say he defends, but you can just keep making threat mates. Oh, I mean, don't take the gold even for now. White will take the rook. And after the horse goes away, he takes the silver. If you drop a knight here now, Black's king is a mate. Start from this silver sack, for instance. So again, don't take the gold now, and just simply drop the knight here, which is another threat mate. White will take the silver anyway now, but you can just go ahead, drop the gold here, and actually it's a mate. Let's say the king runs, but horse sack and a gold drop. You take the rook now, and a rook drop, and yeah, finally the pawn drop. Always this pawn drop, because the pawn is taken out from 6g. So silver takes it, and then, yeah, it's cool. Gold sack. He cannot take it. A rook check. Can't take with the silver. So he has to run. Then gold sack and rook check. Checkmate. So that's how to deal with the gold sacrifice on 3h. Very important. So finally, that's all for silver to 6g promote variation. But before I finish this video, let me just talk a little bit about silver takes 6g unpromote. The idea of this move is if you go ahead, he can take this gold with unpromote, which is now make a good difference because silver can't go to here, right? So Black goes ahead and he promotes his silver to here now. Horse check, king runs, rook drop, king block, gold blocks it. So I guess Black's king is in a threat mate. You see this rook sack, can't take it. King runs, but rook sack anyway, and it's a simple checkmate. You see the bishop covers this square, which is the difference when silver moves back to here after unpromotion, right? So, well, but good defense for Black is simply gold drop here, and White maybe go ahead, sacking the pieces, and a powerful rook check. King runs, and here comes a bishop promotion, and this threat mate is very powerful. It's hard to remove, but actually, look at this. It's great. Knight sack on 7d. Pawn has to take it, then rook sack, because you see after the king takes it, silver drop, horse sack, and it's a checkmate. Unbelievable. So after the dragon check, let's say the king runs. Well then, silver sack, because if he takes it, silver's check, and the dragon check. So let's say he runs, but simply pawn drop. And let's say king to 90, for example. Anyways, a threat mate. So it's an amazing checkmate after this knight sacrifice. So that's the consequence of silver on promotion 6g. So you have to know this line too, right? Oh, and yeah, one more thing. After the silver on promotion here, there's another option. Gold to 7-9 again. Well, because this time the silver cannot move to here, so that pawn second h is a less threat for black. But this time, white has this option. He can go ahead, still unpromote. Well, because if black goes ahead, he takes it with unpromote again, which is a big difference from the similar line before. So it's not good for black. So after this position, finally black has to take it here anyway. So which brings into this variation, which we haven't seen in silver promoted variation. And well, this line is another interesting game. Black goes ahead, white simply takes it back. Just an example, but let's say king runs, horse takes a knight, maybe a pawn drop here, and after the king takes it, another pawn drop. Yeah, so it's another interesting game which follows the silver promotion. So after all, we've covered silver 6G promote and unpromote variations. So in the next video, we're going to take a look at bishop to 6G promote, which is thought to be the best move in this position. So hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.